NVIDIA just announced their new DLSS 5 feature, and it's kinda, yeah, people hate it. And seriously, there's already tons of video talking shit about DLSS 5, and so like for clout, I'm gonna say that DLSS 5 has the real potential. So, what even is DLSS 5? Because a lot of people are just reacting to the ugly AI face mask without fully understanding what it does. Well, it's not just upscaling anymore. NVIDIA is calling it a neural rendering model. So basically, it takes your game's color, motion, and data per frame, then feeds that into an AI model, then that AI infuses the scene with what they're calling photoreal lighting and materials. Subsurface scattering on skin, the way light catches the edge of someone's hair, how fabric looks like it has actual weight. The demo they showed at GTC 2026 ran on two RTX 5090s. Which is, yeah, we'll get into that. But even just conceptually, the thing is doing lighting work that would normally take a Hollywood VFX pipeline minutes per frame. And it's doing it in real time. Like, that's crazy. But now, here's where it gets interesting, and honestly, I think people are sleeping on the actual potential of this tech. The way DLSS 5 works is it doesn't have to touch everything. NVIDIA gave developers controls for intensity, color grading, and masking, meaning the developers can technically point this thing at specific parts of the scene and say, yeah, just do the lighting and leave everything else alone. And that is a genuinely different conversation from the AI slop criticism, because the slop problem happens when the AI is overriding the game's entire visual identity. If you're using DLSS 5 surgically, just letting it handle how light falls on a character's face or how ambient occlusion fills the corner of a room, you're not replacing the artist's work. You're just enhancing the physics underneath it. And look, I'll be honest, I'm not exactly a cheerleader for this tech. The idea of AI model deciding what my game looks still makes me like uneasy, but I'm not going to pretend that I can't see what's actually being offered here. The alternative everyone loves to propose is ray tracing or path tracing, and those are genuinely incredible technologies, but also they genuinely destroy your frame rate unless you have a car that costs more than a fucking car. Path tracing in Alan Wake 2, Cyberpunk 2077, and Hogwarts Legacy. The results are stunning. But the performance is brutal, and most people playing games right now are not on the hardware that can run those effects at a playable frame rate natively. So, if DLSS 5 can deliver a similar quality of light interaction at a fraction of the raw compute cost, and the devs actually have enough control to keep the art style intact, then yeah, it's a legitimate alternative. The art style thing is the part I keep coming back to though, because it's where this tech either earns its place or becomes a problem. The Tom's Hardware demo impressions show that in games like Starfield, which never had ray tracing to begin with, DLSS 5 made environments and characters noticeably more convincing. But in Oblivion Remastered, where the character models still have that deliberately goofy, exaggerated look from the original 2006 game, rendering those same faces with cinematic skin and hair detail made them look more unsettled.
Oh my god!
And that's the gap. A photorealistic lighting pass on a game that's never designed to look photorealistic would not enhance it, but would make it look terrible. So the potential here is real, but it is conditional. It requires developers to actually understand what their game is supposed to look like and masking tools accordingly. Which brings us to the part of the conversation where I have to be realistic about who's actually making these games. So, wait, no, hit that like and subscribe to the channel first because, I don't know, you made it this far without clicking off the video. I know I'm so terrible at making people just watch my content. But, you know, hitting that like would show this to more people because, you know, I need more views, I need money, dude, I need to feed my fish and dogs and my cat. By the way, I don't have any pets. So, the downsides, because they are significant. The demo at GTC ran on dual RTX 5090s, two of them. NVIDIA did say that they have it running on a single GPU in their labs, and by the fall of 2026, when it actually launches, single GPU performance is the target. But even optimistically speaking, we're talking about a tech that's going to be computationally heavy in a way that makes current ray tracing look casual. Maybe. The AI model has to analyze the scene, infer lighting conditions, understand the material properties, and generate all of that in real time up to 4K. That is not a light workload. And whatever overhead it adds on top of what their game is already doing is going to be felt. And because of the And because of the computational profile, the tensor cores, the dedicated AI hardware required to run this at a viable frame rate is an NVIDIA-only technology. AMD and Intel GPU users are not in this conversation, which, depending on how widely adopted DLSS 5 becomes, starts to feel like less of a feature and more like an exclusive wall. Then there's the developer incentive problem, which is worth bringing up even if it's not severe as it sounds. The worry that DLSS 5 becomes a crutch, that studios will release a game with lazy lighting and just point to the feature as a fix. But that argument doesn't really hold up when you think about it. The majority of players that are on consoles, a significant portion of PC gamers that are on AMD or Intel hardware, and DLSS 5 is an NVIDIA-only feature. So no, developers with a multi-platform release can't afford to let their base lighting look and finish because the feature exists. The game still has to stand on its own for most of the people buying it. The more realistic concern isn't that DLSS 5 replaces good lighting work, it's that it becomes an afterthought, a checkbox feature that gets implemented sloppily and ends up looking worse than just leaving it off. So where does that leave us? Well, DLSS 5 is real. It's coming in the fall of 2026, and the underlying tech is impressive enough that writing it off completely is just a terrible decision. But it needs developers to use it the right way, selectively on top of intentional artistic choices, not instead of them. It needs NVIDIA to actually hit that single GPU performance target at launch, because right now, the hardware bar is absurd, and it needs a broader ecosystem conversation to happen. Because a major graphics feature that only works on one brand of GPU is genuinely a problem for the industry long term. Regardless of how it looks, the potential is here. Whether the execution matches it is a question we'll have to wait until fall to answer. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for this stupid video, and hit that like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.